Good morning, everybody, or wherever you are in your day. This is Virginia Milner coming to you for the DeKalb County Library System with another program. And I have well, I always say that. I have a super easy bracelet that we're going to do. I wanted to do something with some really easy spirals on it, just something a little bit different. I have these rectangle beads that I've been using, and I've been trying to think of different things to do with them. I have this beautiful lapis stone rectangle bead that I'm going to use today. And I've got some howlite that we're going to use today. If I can get a good close up of that, it'll be better out of all of this light when I get down to where I'm working. But so I thought I would just do something with some very simple links that turns out to be a very pretty bracelet. We're going to be working a lot more on links because I just like them, and I like different ways to do different links to make something that's really special. And next week is a special video for me, and I will tell you more about that next week. So we're going to do this bracelet. Those of you who get kits will get two different types of stone. One will be howlite, and the other one will be a different kind of stone to go with it. We're going to be using 20 gauge wire, and that's it. We have our two types of bead, our 20 gauge wire, and that's all that you need to make those are all that's all that you need to make the components for this bracelet. Of course, you'll need your pliers. You'll need your round nose pliers. They've got these little round jaws here, arms, whatever you want to call them, just jaw in between. But I've heard them called different things. But anyway, they're perfectly round with a graduated, they get gradually smaller at the tip and larger toward the hilt. Then we have our squared off pliers. These are they could be chain nose, square nose, whatever the brand calls them, or the type that you get. And they're basically also gradually smaller towards the tip. They're slightly rounded on the outside, and the inside is should be perfectly flat. I would suggest if you're getting these pliers that you get some that don't have those little ridges or teeth grips on the inside, because they will mar your wire. The third thing that we're going to need is a pair of cutters to cut your wire with. And last of all, you will need a ruler to measure out your wire. That is it. Let's get down here to where I'm working. I'm still working with my hand camera. So actually, I think it might be a little easier doing this. I'm going to bring this down a little bit closer so that you can see better. You don't need to see what I've already done. But we're going to go ahead and get started. So what I'm going to do for each of my rectangle beads, each one of these is approximately ½ inch long. And we're just going to wrap it. And we're just going to do a little spiral wrap around it. So what I'm going to do for this length of a bead is give myself 5 inches of wire. And I just do this to kind of straighten it out a little bit. It also warms up the wire, and it helps with work hardening. The more you work with it, the stronger the wire will get. Anyway, we're using 20 gauge wire. I need 5 inches. Off. And I'm going to start with about 1 inch of wire. You can make it 1 1/4 inches, but 1 inch of wire is plenty to do my first loop. So what I'm going to do is measure out my inch of wire. I'm going to bend it back the wire until it is horizontal and the rest of it is vertical. I'm going to grab my round nose pliers. And I'm going to make a loop that's about the size of, doesn't have to be too big. I've already done a couple of these. I'm going to go about 1/3 of the way down my pliers to make my loop. So the short tail of wire is on top of the pliers. The pliers are, that one jaw of the pliers is underneath the short tail and the other is on top of the short tail. Now, one thing that I want to tell you is the two arms of my pliers should be hugging this long tail of wire, this long stem of wire, but you don't want your pliers in the corner like this. You don't want them off at an angle like this in the corner, which is sometimes what I see people doing. I hope you can get a good view of what I got here. So this is in the corner. I don't want that. I want them directly under that short tail of wire so that I have my pliers going one way towards me. My short tail of wire is going out to the side and my long tail is going straight down. And those pliers, the side of my pliers is hugging that long tail, not turned off in the corner like that, but actually under the short tail and hugging the long tail. I hope that makes sense. So I see people doing that a lot in classes, and I make the correction so that they don't end up with a loop that's off on the side. So anyway, now I've got my pliers situated. My wire is about 1/3 of the way down my pliers. I'm going to bring that short tail of wire over the top of my pliers and down the side so that it meets the long tail. Then without moving my wire, I'm going to open my pliers up, reposition them, close them back down, and so that they are again still on top, facing me, going towards me. The handle's going towards me. The short tail is down to the side, and I'm going to bring that short tail under the pliers, like so, until I have a loop. So that's what I have. My nice little loop there. Then I'm going to grab my round pliers and see how it's a little bit, this stem right here is a little bit off to the side. So I'm going to roll that over until my loop is nicely centered. Then I'm going to grab what I call the face of my loop, which is the flat part. Bring that tail under and wrap it around the long stem, just like that. And I only need one wrap around because the other side's going to come up and wrap around it as well. So I only need one full wrap around my long stem. And then I'm going to trim that end off. Just cut that off. And if you are working with cutters that have one side that's flat and the other side that has a little well in it, it's concave here. When you're going to cut, in order to get it as close as you can to where you want the cut to be, you want to use the flat side. So I'm going to use the flat side of my pliers, push it right up against where I want it to cut, and snip that off. Notice I held on to that little tail so that it doesn't go flying across the rim. Now I'm going to push that little end down. Make sure it's nice and close so it won't snag on anything. Then I'm going to grab my rectangle bead, slide that on. So now I'm going to go ahead and make the loop on the other side. So I'm going to bend it nice and close to the top of my bead here. Just bend that back. Grab my round nose pliers, and I want my loops to be going in the same direction. So this one's going this way. I want this one to go the same direction. So grab my round nose pliers, slide my wire down about 1/3 of the way down my pliers, just like I did on the other side, and bring that tail of wire over and across my pliers, open my pliers up, rotate back, clamp back down, and bring that wire under. Now, I have a nice long neck here that I don't want, so I'm going to rotate until I can get rid of that. I'm going to rotate my pliers until my loop is settled right there at the top of my bead, just like on the other side. And if I look and see that one looks a little bigger than the other, and actually they look pretty much the same, I can also go in and pull that tail until the loop closes up a little bit and they look a little more the same size. Then I'm going to grab my pliers, my square pliers, hold on to the face of my wire. I'm going to wrap once around the top. Remember, we only did one wrap here. I'm going to do a second wrap because I'm going to bring this up and wrap it at the top. So this is going to end up with 2 wraps, and I want it to match. Then I'm going to start wrapping around my bead. So I'm just going to wrap once around, and it depends on how many wraps you want. Twice around. Isn't that pretty? And I think that'll do it. And then I'm going to wrap once around that other loop, just like that. And that's what I had. Oops, come back here. Now I'm going to just snip off that little tail. And this is too short for me to hold. I'm going to turn it down into the spool of my wire so that it doesn't go flying off into parts unknown. And I'm going to take my square pliers and push down that tail nice and close. And there's my little bead. Neat, huh? Okay, the next component to that, well, I have one more to do, but I think I actually have enough because I've already done some. But we'll see if I need another. The next component is going to be this pretty halide bead. I can't really see the striations on it because I've got so much light going on. But yeah, there's that bead. Trying to get to where it's not blurry. Here we go, I think. Yeah. Neat. Okay, so we're going to wrap that bead. And that's going to be a very easy wrap. Just a basic wrapped loop. Straighten out my wire, and I just need 3 inches for this. These little halide beads are rondels, and they measure a little, about 1/4 of an inch. So I don't really need too much for that. I'm going to give myself 3 inches. And again, I'm going to bend about 1 inch away from the end. And what you can do on this, because this is going to be the same on both sides, you can just put it on your wire. And if you don't feel like measuring, and just bend it right in the middle there. One going one way, the other one going the other way, just like that. And we're just going to make a wrapped loop on each end. Okay, go about 1/3 of the way down. I want my loops to be about the same size, so third of the way down my pliers. Bring that tail over the pliers and maneuver it under the pliers and over the top of the bead. There we go. Straighten it out a little bit. Let's flatten that. And then wrap that around the bead. Now, if you don't want to deal with the bead and this and all of that, you can just do it like I did the first time, and I'll show you on the next one what I mean. Just wrap that around, and I like to wrap it around once, then go to the other side and see how many wraps I can do with the wire that I have so that they both look the same. Again, wrapping that. I have to maneuver it in between the bead and the pliers, like so. Grab my square pliers, hold on to the face. And wrap. So I've got one wrap on each side. I'm going to give myself another wrap because I have the wire to do it. Oh my goodness, all the sirens. Same thing on the other side. And I'm just going to keep wrapping until I have no wire left. That'll give me a tiny little cap on top of my bead. It's very organic, so you can do it whatever way you want. If you wanted to cut that off after 1.5 wraps or 2 wraps, that's entirely up to you. I hate wasting wire if I can avoid it, so I will keep on wrapping until there's no wire left. Okay. Oh, I hope I was on camera. My goodness. Okay. And then push that little end down. And there we go. There's my little wrap. I'm going to do it again with this one. And I'll show you how to do it without the bead on there. Okay, I need 3 inches. Okay, now again, I can go ahead and slide that on if I don't want to measure, just to get an approximate halfway point for the first one. Okay, I'm going to bend that back, grab my round nose pliers, slide my wire down my pliers about 1/3 of the way, like I did with the other loop, so that they're the same size. I'm going to bring that tail over the top and down the side so that it's going the same direction as the long one. Without moving my wire, I'm going to hold on to it, open my pliers, rotate them back to reposition them on top of my wire again. Bring that short tail under my pliers. And I have a loop. Grab my square pliers and wrap. And I'm just going to wrap it around one time. Then I'm going to go ahead and put my bead on and do the other side. Bend my wire back. Again, this is going that way. I want this to be going the same direction. And slide my wire down about 1/3 of the way down my pliers. Bring my wire over the top and down the side. And this is why I said if you wanted to not have to deal with the bead, because now I have to work this wire around the bead to get it in between the pliers and the bead. And if you don't have to do that twice, that might be good. One time is enough. So there's my little lid. Grab my square pliers and wrap. I'm gonna bring it around one time, just like I did with the other one. Of course, tail's gonna be on the opposite side. Okay, and I'm gonna keep wrapping. And I do it side to side so I can make sure that I have the same number of wraps on both. Okay, let's bring that around another half turn. Same on this side, another half turn. It's very short, so I'm using my other pliers. And then I'm going to just push that little tail down. Nice and close to my bead. Get down there. Let's go from this way. I'm going to clip that little tail off because it's bothering me. Yeah, let's clip that off. I don't like it sticking out like that. Here we go. And let's do the same on the other side. Now there's a little trick. Because this is sticking straight out, it's hard to get it to angle in around the corner. So I'm going to give it a little bend, just a little bend like that. If that's visible. Yeah. So now see, it's got a little curve in it. So now when I push it down, it's already curved in the direction that I want it to go. There, much easier. Push it down a little tighter. Here we go. And there's my wrapped bead. Nice. Okay, now we just need to put everything together. And this is the way I'm going. Yeah. How do we put them together, you ask? That's a good question. We will use our 20 gauge wire to make infinity links. And I'm going to make some tiny ones. I have some already made around here somewhere. Oh, hold on. Let me find them. Where are they? All right, I'm ready to make my links. I made some more because I couldn't find my little package of links that I already had made. So we're going to make tiny little infinity links. I want to make it look like a small chain. I started to just use a chain, but I thought, why? So what we're going to do is make some little infinity links like this to hook our beads together. So what I'm going to do is just make a small loop. I'm going to go about a quarter of the way down my pliers because I don't want it to be too big. I want it to look like a little chain. So I'm going to go a quarter of the way down my pliers, put my wire in, make sure not much more than the tip is sticking out, if anything. If you can keep it to nothing, that's even better. You want it nicely encased in between the jaws of your pliers. I'm going to twist my wrist, give it a turn, and stop, open, reposition my pliers, clamp back down, give it another turn, just a small turn, and I'm going to keep doing this until the end of my wire bumps up against the long strand of wire. Now notice I didn't cut this. You can cut this down, but you're going to have to do a couple of tries before you determine how much you actually need to make each infinity link. And in order to avoid waste, I keep it all intact, and then I just cut it once I got my link made. Otherwise, you're going to end up with these little tiny slivers of wire that you can't do anything with. And how much more wasteful can you be? All right, so I've got that one loop made. I'm going to take my pliers out, slide them back in under my loop, again down about a quarter of the way down my pliers. And if you're questioning how far to go down, just slide your pliers in your previous loop, and that'll tell you where you need to go for your next loop. So I'm right under my loop with my pliers, like so. And I'm going to rotate my wrist, open. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. Go back in where I was. Reposition my pliers, twist again, open, reposition, twist, and keep doing that until I have a loop. So there's my loop. And then there's my little infinity link. So now I just want to cut this off. And I find the easiest way to do that, let me flatten this out because it's a little bowed. The easiest way to know where to cut is to go in with your pliers. You can either go right in between the inside of the loop, or slide your pliers right there beside, right there where the wire crosses over. You're just going to cut right there. You can also go from the back and just slide it right here where the long wire is. Put your pliers right there along that long tail of wire. Flip it off, and there's your link. Flatten that out. And there's my infinity link. Let's do another one. And I'm going to show you what not to do. I see this a lot. People get impatient and they want to make their loop all at one time, and they end up doing this. And look at what happened. I just have a really messed up loop, and I'm now going to have to try to get back in order. I don't want to do that. It never comes out right. You're better off being patient. That. And just doing it little turns at a time. So again, I need to make that flush. I want that straight across. See all those little pieces of wire that I have down in there. Okay, so I'm gonna grab my pliers again, slide my wire about a quarter of the way down my pliers like I did before. Nothing sticking out. Rotate a little bit, open, reposition, clamp back down, rotate, open, reposition, clamp back down, and keep doing that until the little tail, the little end backs up against the rest of my wire. Just like that. So there's my first loop. Slide my pliers in under my loop. And you want to make sure it's resting right against that loop. Slide it down about a quarter of the way down my pliers again. Give it a small turn, open, reposition, clamp back down, turn, open, reposition, clamp back down, and keep going until I have another loop. And just go in and snip that off. And there's my other infinity link. There we go. Make sure it's nicely closed. And there they are. This is going to be my chain. Boop, 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 boop. All right, so now let's put everything together. So I'm just alternating like that. And all I need to do is grab one of my infinity links, open it up, and you want to open these the same way you would do a jump ring. So what I want to do, I don't want to pull my ring apart. Let me find my camera here. I don't want to pull the ring open. There, that's better. So I don't want to pull my ring open like this. What I want to do is grab the face of my loop. Let me get it up. Let me get it as close as I can get. Grab the face of my loop, twist my loop open like that. Slide my bead on my closed loop into the open loop and close it back up. Oops. Well, something like that. Just like that. Now I'm going to go to the other side and attach this. Again, I'm going to open up my loop. Slide my closed loop into my open loop and close. Just like that. Make sure everything's nicely closed. And there we have it. Now, what I like to do is do two links at the same time. I like the strength of it, but in this case, I like the way it looks as a chain. So I'm going to add a second link. Now, I want my links to both face openings to face the same direction. This link opens right here. So I want this link to also open on this side. So I'm going to open that up. And I'm going to slide that open link in the closed loop, like so, and close it back up. Just like that. And I'm going to go to the other side and do, do the other loop. Open up that loop. Slide that on into the closed loop. I'm losing my voice for some reason. There we go. And close it back up. There we go. Make sure everything's nicely closed. Nice and snug. Snug as a bug and a rug. And there's my link. Nice. Let's do another one. All right. Open up my loop. Slide it on. And close. Now I showed you how to do it one at a time. I'm going to show you how to do both of them now. So slide that on. Now I'm going to grab a second one. Open up my loop. And slide it on. And again, remember, I want them to open in the same direction. So this one's opening right here. I want this one to open on that side as well. It just makes it easier to link everything together if they're going the same direction. Now let's go to the other side. And I think this is a little easier because now I can open them both up. Boom and boom. And slide on my bead on both of them at the same time. There we have it. Now, the one thing you want to make sure of is that you don't cross these little links over. Since they're both open, you don't want to make sure, you want to make sure that they close separately. Close the one, close the other one, and there we have it. Let's go ahead and link this one. Having fun. Open, attach, and close. Open. See how easy it is to make your own chain? Again, check, make sure I'm going the right way here. Yep. I mean, why buy chains when you can make your own? And so pretty too. And those of you who get kits, they're going to be some different colors. I decided to do some in silver, some bronze, some gold. So there's different colors available in the kits. Open one, open the other. I just decided to make mine silver because I thought the lapis looked beautiful with silver. There's the one on the bottom, and close the one on the top, making sure nothing is overlapping. And there we go. Nice. I'm going to go ahead and hook it together with the rest of it. Yeah. And then we'll see whether or not I need that other one. I don't think I do. Okay, let's open that. Attach. Let loose. Nice and tight. Open. Attach. And close. Double check, make sure they're both going the same way. Yes, they are. Open one. Open the other one. And attach them both. Make sure they're not crossing over. You don't want crossed over. One on top, one on the bottom, the way they should be. There we go. There's the one. There's the other. Nice and tight. And there we have it. Now let's measure. Let's see if I need this other little link here. I see people, they get really kind of carried away in the classroom. They start making and making and making, and then I usually give extra beads, and then they make this long strand. They didn't try it on their wrist, and then they end up with something that's way too big because they're trying to use up all the beads. Now, look at that. I don't even need that fourth one because this is going to be long enough without it, because we're going to make a clasp to go with this as well. So what I'm going to do is make one of these into my clasp. Isn't that neat? That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use one of these to make my clasp. I wasn't going to do that. I was just going to make an additional clasp, and I'm going to show you both because your wrist may not be the same size as mine. So I want to make sure that you have plenty, and you should, because I only have 3 of these. I think I put 4 of these in each kit, 4 of these in each kit. So you should have plenty. But I want to show you how to make a beaded link because I like them. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take one of these off. Well, I'll just do it with this. And I'm just going to show you how to make a beaded link with this long rectangle bead, because I would hate to waste this. So what I'm going to do is give myself, it's going to take the same amount. It's going to take still going to take 5 inches of wire. Okay, so 5 inches. Okay. And what I'm going to do is bend about 1.25 inches from the end here. Am I on camera? Oh, yeah. 1.25 inches from the end. Just bend that completely over, not in half because one side is longer than the other, but just fold that completely over until the wires are beside each other. Then I'm going to take my square pliers and squeeze it together as much as I can with my fingers, and then use my square pliers to squeeze the rest of the way until they're as close as I can get them. Yes. Nicely side by side, just like that. Then I'm going to go down here to the bottom. I want about 3/4 of an inch at the top because this is already going to be very long. I don't want it to be too huge. So I'm going to give myself about 3/4 of an inch from the top, from the folded edge. I'm going to go down here to the bottom. I'm going to bend up that little tail. Let's bring it straight up. So this is what I have now. Then I'm going to grab my square pliers, and I'm going to hold both of those wires still side by side. And I'm going to bring that tail around the long stem. Just wrap it around. And it doesn't need to be too many wraps. 1.5. Sorry, alarm is telling me to get a move on. I added an extra step in here. So I'm hoping this doesn't end up to be too long because I'm trying to stick with the no more than an hour per tutorial promise that I've made to you guys. There we go. So I got 2 good wraps in there. Didn't really need that many, but no wire waste. Yay. Then I'm going to slide my bead on. Wow, that was way more than I needed. I really only needed about, oh, you know what? No, because we will make this look exactly like the other beads. Yay! Yes, let's do that. So I'm going to, again, make a loop. I think I have enough to do that. Let's just see. Slide it down about 1/3 of the way down my pliers so my loop is about the same as the other loops. Wrap that around, bring that loop under. Here, nice little loop. Give myself 1 wrap and keep wrapping. Grab my school pliers, it's easier. Keep wrapping down the side of my bead. Until it looks just like the others. And I have just enough. Wrap that around. My little stem. You want to give yourself 6 inches. Then you don't have to be so stingy. Go. Squeeze that down. Yay. And now I just need to make my little hook. Ah. So I'm going to, where did that end up? Here's the little tail. I'm gonna make that the bottom. So I'm gonna bend my wire back like so. And then go here to the tip and put a little bend in the tip in the same direction. So this is going this way. So I'm going to make a bend in the tip going the same direction. Just a little tiny bend. Then I'm going to go down just under my little bend that I made. Slide all the way to the back of my pliers and rotate, open, rotate, and keep going until I have a shepherd's hook. There you go. I'm going to fix this so that these are both going the same way. Make some little adjustments. There we go. And now I can attach it to my bracelet. And one of these I don't need because that would make it too long if I put that on there. So which one do I want to take off? Which one don't I like as much? I'll take this one off. Yeah. Okay. Let's open that up. And remove that. Replace it with this one. Close it back up. It's nice and tight. And there we have it. Isn't that neat? Now, you might decide that you want to have one of these on one side and one of these on the other side. Instead of using this one for your hook, you can use your halide bead for your hook. Works the same way, but oh my goodness, I love it when I have a hook that falls in with the rest of my bracelet. Go ahead and put this on. Oh, and I forgot to say, and this can hook right into that bead. You don't even have to have another component in order to hook it. Just put it on. Oh, now it got caught in my sweater. Oops. Get out of there. I like the sweater too, doggone it. That's why it's always a good idea to make sure all of your little links are properly wrapped. There it is. Here's my bracelet. Oh, I love it. And it's so easy to do. We made the entire thing. We've wrapped our beads. We've made our own chain. Oh, what could be better than this? I love it. Anyway, that's it. Let's go back up here. Isn't that awesome? I love it when a plan comes together. Those of you who know that show that they used to say that. Anyway, isn't that great? Anyway, you who get kits, do that. Those of you who get kits, I've used all different rectangle stone beads. There's some, I think I've got some lavender and some chrysocolla and just all different kinds. And then they all have a little coordinating howlite bead to go with them. And I would love it, absolutely love it. I'm talking into my computer instead of my hand camera because I keep forgetting. And they don't get hand camera. Okay, I would love it if you would show me what you make. And my email is, it's better. My email is jewelrygen20@gmail.com. That's JEWELRYGIN20@gmail.com. Please send me pictures. I'm sorry, it's cold here. I, I enjoyed my nest. Anyway, I hope that you will send me pictures, or you can, I don't think you can post them on the YouTube page. They won't let you, or even the Facebook page. I'm not sure about that. But if you send me pictures of what you make, I will post them. Please go to the YouTube page and subscribe, and you will have access to all of the videos as they come down. As they post, they will send you a little alert saying there's a new video just for you to see. Let us know how you like these. I really enjoy your feedback. A lot of people are giving me feedback on YouTube, which is great. Please put your comments there or at the library Facebook page, whichever is more convenient for you, whichever one you prefer. All right, I'm wrapping it up. Whichever one you prefer is fine with me, but I just love to hear from you. So until next time, I hope you have a great week, have a great weekend, and I hope that we will certainly see you later. Bye-bye.